Welcome, everyone. Happy Monday. I'm the Gray Strega, and I'm here to give you your daily collective read for today, Monday, April 14th, 2025. What do we have coming through on the cards for today? First two cards in our 5-card spread. Gosh, you gotta love Libra energy, man, don't you? It's like when it's balanced, it's balanced. And there's something really beautiful about this energy right now because I keep on seeing that there's a bit of a gift that we are getting right now with this Libra full moon. And a lot of it, I keep on getting, a lot of it has to do with the fact that Mercury and Venus are behind Neptune right now for a limited time. For a limited time. Because there's something that we have to notate that's very important here as it relates, and we've been talking a lot about this. Neptune is the energy of memory. It's the collective memory. It is the memory bank. It is the things that we hold on to, sentimentality, nostalgia, right? And there's something really important about the fact that during this recent cycle, we saw something very intriguing that happened, and that was Neptune moved into Aries as Mercury and Venus pulled back into Pisces. And so when I just want to give you this is why I literally talk about astrology from the framework of tarot and the energetic energy that I see when I'm reading. And I often have to go back to astrology to understand what I'm seeing, because everything I keep on seeing in relationality to why there's a bit of objectivity that we're having right now, the ability to look at the emotions in a very objective way, has to do that when planets come out of retrograde for me, I see them as waking up, if you will. It's like they wake back up. And so there's something kind of beautiful about the fact that we see that Mercury and Venus have effectively woken up and they're standing behind Neptune, right? The ability to look at the past through a new perspective. And it's also very important to recognize that Saturn has approached Mercury and Venus as well. So the ability to look at something from a different perspective, and what is the perspective that is allowing Mercury and Venus to view Neptune a different way? Time, Saturn energy. There's a lot of, I keep on describing this as Renaissance energy right now because it's the ability to take new approaches to things. It's the ability to articulate upon something that you couldn't see before because time has allowed the context to be able to see the shape of something. There's some things, and again, there's some things that we cannot see directly as we are inhabiting them. We've been talking a lot about working through that context of healing from places and spaces of energetic regret. But that's why I keep on seeing that for a lot of the energy right now, particularly for a lot of the energy in separation, and particularly for a lot of the partnerships that are forming right now, which I keep identifying as chariot energy. Why are these chariot partnerships? Well, another reason that these are chariot partnerships right now is they're seeing something as they move into partnership in relationality to a past relationship that they couldn't see before, right? It's the conversation about the fact that sometimes we can't get clarity on things until we get distance from them, particularly in the realm of things that are energetically confusing or things that move us into a space that we begin to doubt ourselves. This is why I keep on seeing that there's a lot of work, or there's a lot of path work that's occurring right now for energy in separation, in identifying the difference between an inspirational relationship and an aspirational relationship. What are the defining characteristics of an aspirational relationship? The ability not to move towards another just when one feels inspired. It is the determination and the energetic commitment that we put forth towards one another that allows the context by which things can be done. And even here, I feel like there's something about new relationship jitters that has been coming through heavily during this eclipse cycle that we just came out of. But again, what's the viability point as it relates to the difference between jitters and bursts? When we're jittering, right? When we're working in the space of working through jitters, we're getting through something. We're learning how to do something better, right? We're doing something in a new way, and every time we do it, we get a little bit better at it, right? Like this is, I told you, it's training wheels energy, right? It's that propulsion point by which we recognize and identify that easement that we create that allows the context of creating a point of flow, right? And it's the irony that we often have to go through the jitters to reach a flow state, right? We have to push ourselves into spaces that are like uncomfortable until we get the energetic hang of something. Whereas again, I see a lot of energy right now in separation, seeing the difference of someone that is trying to impress or to improve upon something, right? The exquisite insistence that occurs that starts to build into a place of consistency, right? The relationship that becomes viable via means of being able to start to rely upon consistency. And it's in the moment that they start to build that healthy energetic connection with someone that builds into a point of articulating consistency that they suddenly get clarity on any kind of relationships in the past that were more built on inspiration or on another's whim. How can we often identify a relationship that's built on another's whim? It's bursting, right? It's a burst. It's like bursts of activity followed by latency. Because if another's only coming towards us when their mood strikes them to do so, or when they're feeling energetically inclined, this can often be some of the most difficult type of relationship to heal from, because it's not necessarily easy to be able to identify and recognize what's wrong. It's not the wrongness of what it is that you're experiencing. But the lack of consistency is the most wrong quality about it, because it feels like when the good comes in, it's almost like a shock to your system. Right? It's like that thing that you build that expectation towards, but you're never able to rely upon, that can start to allow for that feeling of feeling energetically damaged or drained. So that's why I keep on seeing that for a lot of the energy, working into that pathwork of consistency, recognizing and identifying and feeling that fabric of the relationship that is being created via someone that is also understanding the gift that we give each other in consistency and measured effort. This is a lot of energy that is letting out a lot of frustration as it relates to past situations, because that's the energy that at the same time that they're articulating their frustration, they're feeling the ability of not building towards someone that's just there to be inspired, but another person that is there to work through and navigate things with them. Right? Because the ability to work together through frustration is not a nice to have in a healthy relationship. It is a need to have. Continuing to have clarification, center card for our spread for the energy coming into divine union. Yeah, I keep on seeing what's beautiful about this for a lot of the energy coming into divine union. I see a lot of the energy coming into divine union moving into hermit energy. Why is the energy coming into divine union moving into hermit energy right now? Because this is the energy that's feeling the appreciation of being in a relationship where there's healthy fabric that is established that allows for one's hands to be free. Because when you're not constantly perseverating over the condition or quality of a relationship, when we build into that context of stabilization, it is the ground through which we can explore the self and we can begin to flourish. So this is why I keep on seeing that there's a lot of that energy that it's building into that space of authenticity with counterpart, articulating and speaking towards the energy that says, through you, I am able to become more of myself. And that isn't the energy that says, I need you. That's not the energy that says, you complete me. That's the energy that says, you create the consistency through which I can blossom as an energetic individual. So this is a lot of the energy right now. I keep on seeing it's like the hermit energy that's becoming a blossom, because this is the energy that is feeling the I keep on seeing feeling the security of becoming more themselves than they ever have before. While for masculine and feminine energy right now, deep within divine union, I just keep on seeing that for a lot of the energy right now, deep within divine union, this is more about, I keep on seeing, this is more about conversations on courtesy and delicacy. There are more conversations here that are built upon, I keep on seeing gentle, encouraging, effort, right? Because I keep on seeing that, and it has a lot, there's a lot of conversations there in relationality to courtesy and the recognition that courtesy is different than niceness. Why do I keep on seeing that there's a lot of conversations about the difference between courtesy and niceness? Because, you know, we can be stubborn and still nice. We can be energetically resistant and still courteous. And so that's why I keep on seeing that there's something about that that is the articulation of recognizing the nuance between courtesy and niceness. Because often, I keep on saying, often niceness can, often niceness can, like I keep on hearing, often niceness can coat stubbornness, and often courtesy can be shrouded in inflexibility. But that's why I keep on seeing that there's something important there, because this is the energy that is working through a lot of that Gemini in Jupiter, which is being able to tell the difference between energy that's in the space of being exquisitely insistent upon something, right? Being firm and holding on to something because it's energetically important, versus energy that is stubborn, that holds on to things that they aren't able to articulate the reasons why, that can often be indicative of an energetic blind spot within the self. Fourth and fifth cards in our 5-card spread are, we got 2 cards popping out here. High Priestess in its reversal in combination with our 10 of Pentacles in its reversal, in combination with our King of Pentacles in its reversal. This is having a different impact on masculine and feminine energy right now. Bearing in mind, this is not based on gender, but what one feels most aligned to. Now, one of the things that we're seeing is, I keep on seeing there's a lot of work. I keep on seeing, and this is happening across all of the frequencies. I keep on getting the message that these are the energies that are working right now on synchronized lessons. And what does that effectively mean? It means that effectively it's bringing out different qualities and characteristics as it relates to working towards the same energetic benchmark. You know, for feminine, I keep on seeing that this is a lot of that continuing work of feminine, recognizing and working through the lesson that when one is moving on a pathwork of the self, you have to be in a space of just navigating and being ready to let down others in the process. Like, there's a lot of that space that we're seeing, that feminine is healing, right? And we saw this heavily. You'll remember this was all of that work in the Venus retrograde cycle, right? Because what happens when we work in the context of experiencing things that make us feel like we want to take them personally, but then we lead forward with compassion. We recognize that others' perception of us is not our energetic responsibility, right? This is why we talk about the fact that effectively, and we were talking about this heavily during the retrograde cycle. Often when we're moving in the space of our authenticity, we trigger others. We can be, it's not my quote, but you can please some people some of the time, but you can't please all of the people all of the time. And the thing is, there's a lot of the feminine energy right now that is working through lessons that made them feel that in order to embody their femininity, they had to be in a space of being very, very over giving, like having those modalities of giving an excessive quantity of the self. And this is why I see a lot of the feminine energy working in that context of laying the foundation of setting their own energetic standards. But at the same time, what is the song that you hear when you're setting standards? You're disappointing me, right? You know what I mean? Like, the song you hear as you set new energetic standards are, you're really disappointing me. right? Because that ability of identifying and feeling the stabilization point of the self is one that we're not affected by the disappointment of others, but we calibrate for what it is that another was expecting from us. While for masculine energy, I see that a lot of masculine energy is more in that space, of building into the context of being energetically supportive, of identifying and recognizing what that stabilization point is in the self. And for a lot of the masculine energy right now, I keep on seeing that this is more working on that space of integrating the emotions, but not feeling controlled by them. I want you to see here the balanced force right now. This is the feels good is good that we're talking about, that occurs. Like this is masculine working in the context of chariot energy, because what happens in the space that we're able to feel our emotions, but we don't feel controlled by them. We have the ability that is identified in the ability to objectively speak about them. So I keep on seeing that this is a bit of the gift that we're experiencing right now with this Libra full moon energy. That's why it's like a pink moon, because it allows us, it's giving us that easement in being able to speak with tenderness on things that have deep meaning to us, right? There's a lot of intimacy I keep on seeing. It's a full moon that helps us with wounds of intimacy. Continuing to get clarification between our Seven of Cups in combination with our Page of Wands in its upright. One card to clarify, please. Four of Pentacles in its reversal. Now, and that's what I'm like, the thing about this, and I keep on seeing there's a lot of work that's happening right now, particularly and especially in the space of, I keep on seeing communication and release. And why are we seeing this to a certain extent? Because for a lot of the energy in this modality, that ability to be able to feel the sense of what happens when we feel the ability to speak freely, right? When we feel the ability to speak freely, we feel like we are in our authenticity, right? We have that ability to articulate and communicate upon something in ways that feel like they may have energetically escaped us in the past. And so that's why I keep on seeing that, and that's happening across all of the frequencies right now. But what's beautiful about it is I keep on seeing that there's a lot of observation in identifying self-awareness. And why do we see that there's a lot of observation in identifying and working in the pathwork of self-awareness? Because, and this is why I was telling you guys during that eclipse cycle, not to work in the space of taking something personally. If you were experiencing something during that eclipse cycle that was bothering you, like the ability to take the note, the ability to allow it to build into the context of setting a new energetic standard for the self. This is how we build into those points of productivity. But at the same time, I almost feel like there's a little bit of this energy coming out of the full moon, coming through right now with this full moon in Libra, that feels like I almost hear like a lot of apologies in the wake of it. Because, you'll remember what I said as it relates to some of these eclipse cycles, right? Eclipses, the reason we identify that eclipses are, I always get frustrated when I hear others describe eclipses as chaotic, because I don't see them as chaotic. I see them as unpredictable. Chaotic and unpredictable are two different things, okay? Chaotic just is like anything can happen, but unpredictable is the fact that it really depends on what is going on in the space of the eclipse that amplifies. And so you'll remember, what do we experience? What's happening during this eclipse cycle? The mutual double force of the Venus retrograde with the Mercury retrograde, which is feeling super extra sensitive about things, and then taking things very personally, and then feeling like things were directed towards the self. So the ability, and remember what I kept on saying to you guys, like you don't need to stress about doing anything wild during eclipse. Being able to just stay on an even keel is great. Everything else is extra credit. Like, I just keep on seeing that there's like a lot of that, work that is happening in that space because because it is effectively the amplification in being able to recognize and identify upon what one is hoping to move into a space of productivity, right? And I keep on seeing that there's something about product, like productive and working into productive spaces right now that, like I told you, we're starting to get over a little bit of that training, like a little bit of that training wheels energy, as it were. And it's not easy, like that's the thing about it. It's not energetically easy. It's like I keep on identifying the fact that, when you're working in that, and remember when I was saying the last few weeks have been like during the eclipse, identifying like the space of the force of like part in our appearance energy, like working through that ability of being adaptable and recognizing and allowing oneself to like stumble upwards, if you will. And that's why I keep on seeing at the same time for some of the energy right now in separation, some of these partnerships that are forming right now, they're feeling very bittersweet. Continuing to get clarification between our Page of Wands in combination with our Page of Cups. One card to clarify. Clarification coming through right now with our Page of Pentacles in its reversal. So everything I keep on seeing here, and this is the thing that's very vital and important about this like a lot of these things I'm seeing is, and remember we talked about the reason that some of these partnerships, I'm calling like they're the reason that these partnerships are effectively like chariot energy that are forming during this time is because they are seeing and recognizing the value and weight of something aspirational, being able to see the force of movement by which you put energy towards something that allows for like the ability to recognize the adaptability in potential counterpart, right? And the ability to kind of, I keep on seeing, determining and recognizing the ability in the other to know how to weave the fabric of healthy relationship, right? That exquisite effort that we give one another. And that's what I keep on hearing about it. And you'll remember a few weeks ago, we were talking about the energy deep within divine union, working through exquisite insistence. There's energy right now that is building into partnership and separation, that is identifying exquisite effort, right? The energy or the force of putting sustained effort to something that is adaptable, but also energetically expansive. And at the same moment, in that moment, and this is that Jupiter and Gemini energy, being able to look back on an experience where that was absent and suddenly recognizing why. Again, the difference between an inspirational relationship and an aspirational relationship. While for masculine and feminine energy right now coming into divine union, this is the energy that is saying to counterpart, you are the ground beneath my feet. Because when we're in healthy relationship, it's not that we need one another, right? It's not that we it's the energy that doesn't say that I rely on you. It's the energy that says through the consistency that we create together, the sustainability through the landscape of working towards the condition of trying to create that smooth, energetic environment. When we create the sustainable ground in relationship, it allows us to flourish because we don't need to concentrate on maintaining an energetic connection. We can concentrate on growing the self within the context of the energetic relationship. While for masculine and feminine energy, deep within divine union, I keep on seeing that this is a lot of the energy right now, like building into working through determination and patience, Like this is giving, like what's interesting about it is like, and I keep on seeing that there just, it feels like, and I keep on seeing like there's a little bit, like this is like a little bit of this weighing that I see, and it's like weighing situations that feels like testing the waters of situations that feel like they've reached impasse, to see if something has changed or if something is still in an inflexibility point. Because the thing is, you can't heal everything. You can try, but you can't, because, and we talked a little bit about this, when another person is being energetically stubborn upon something that you want to bring forth something productive to, this is why the energy is saying, like, is being courteous, right? I keep on hearing extending an olive branch but not cutting down the tree. That energetic gift that we put towards another, that doesn't feel insistent, but almost articulates upon our energetic desire in the way that, in the direction that we aspire something to go. Continuing to get clarification here between our Page of Cups in its upright, in combination with our High Priestess in its reversal, in combination with our Ten of Pentacles in its reversal. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with our Eight of Swords in its upright. You know, there's that frustration again, right? And I need to point this out. It's not that everything is perfect right now. Far from it, right? It's not that everything is perfect, but you'll recall and you'll remember that a lot of the work that we're seeing during this time has to do with recognizing and identifying the difference between being problem focused versus solution oriented, right? And when one is solution oriented, you don't get caught in the struggle so much as it relates to like you don't agonize over what is out of one's own ability to change. You focus on what it is that one can do. And this is why I keep on seeing that there's some energy right now in separation having a breakthrough at the same time that they're moving into connection, because they're suddenly recognizing what was energetically absent in past connections as it relates to what I keep on hearing, the integral importance of concerted effort, right? And when we build into what is concerted effort is the energetic stabilization point and what it is that we can expect from one another, right? It takes, it's like it creates the fabric through which we can, like, through which we build a standard, right? And that's why I keep on seeing that if this is why I keep on seeing that there's like, these new relationships that are coming together. There's a lot of griping, like there's a lot of griping, but I keep on hearing the griping feels like bird song. Because if these are relationships where another was just coming towards another from inspiration, what happens in context where we feel that another's only coming towards us by whim, and we try to be moving to our authenticity and we start expressing frustration and energy goes away? That's not very dream of you, right? We try to be moving to our authenticity and we start expressing frustration and energy goes away. That's not very dream of you, right? Because when someone's towards us, when the mood is inclined or they're feeling inspired, try to move into our authenticity, and someone pulls away from us, what they're really saying is they want the performative experience of us as they perceive us, not as who we truly are, which sometimes makes us feel like we're inhabiting a false character in relationship. The anxiety of revealing our true self, because if someone is continually, every time we start to articulate we feel frustrated, they go away, it creates a lot of that anxiety or that confusion. And this is why I keep on seeing that there's something fusion. And this is why I keep on seeing that there's something about the fabric that's being created in these new energetic connections right now. Like it's like it's awakening to a point of frustration that you couldn't see before, because it's hard to pinpoint an absence on something, particularly around a wound of a lack of consistency, right? Continuing to get clarification between our High Priestess in its reversal, in combination with our 10 of Pentacles in its reversal, in combination with our King of Pentacles in its upright. One card to clarify. Clarification coming through right now with our Star card in its reversal. Now, this is all of that frustration that you're saying that we're talking about. This is all that frustration that we're seeing to a certain degree, because I keep on seeing, like, that's the thing about it. It's hard. And this is why we're talking about the fact that sometimes we have these relationships where it's not that anything, it's not, you can't put your finger on what's wrong. It's because consistency, it's consistency is the most important thing in relationship. But when we're not, and that's why, again, if something's good but it's not energetically consistent, it's actually the worst thing. Because when something is good and it's energetically inconsistent, it creates a space in us where we feel anxiety because we want it to reach a point of energetic balance, but it keeps us in a state of perpetual anxiety, perpetual confusion, perpetual feeling that something is energetically wrong with us, failing to recognize that consistency is a quality. It's not just a need to have, nice to have, it's a need to have. And that's why, again, what is happening right now, that's why we see so much energy and frustration as it relates to building into new energetic connections, because this is the energy that is feeling the sustainability of exquisite concerted effort, in energy that understands that consistency is something that we work to create, something that we work to shape. And so this is the energy that, again, even in the moment that they receive it, a lot of wounds appear because they suddenly recognize something that they could not see before. While for masculine and feminine energy right now, coming into divine union, this is why I see a lot of this energy moving into a space of contemplation. I keep on hearing this energy say, I never felt this way before. Why did the energy never feel this way before? Because this is the energy that it recognizes and identifies that when we're in those relationships that feel like they're that energetic struggle point, when we feel like we're constantly playing tug of war, when we're putting all of our energy in trying to move in a direction, we don't have any energy to work on the self. We don't have any energy. We don't have a breath, right? It's like we don't have a single breath to expend as it relates to working in the context of the self. And this is why I keep on seeing this energy that's coming towards each other with like profound gratitude and saying thank you. And I see the counterpart saying, I'm not doing anything. And the energy saying, you're doing everything. Because when the energy says, I'm not doing anything, the energy says, we are moving in accordance to one another. You're creating sustainability with me. The ability and easement of wanting the same things. It's chariot energy, right? The smooth ground from which we can move more easily. And that is everything. Welcome to alignment. While for masculine and feminine deep within divine union, clarification between our Four of Pentacles in combination with our Page of Pentacles in its reversal, both cards in its reversal. One card to clarify, justice. There's that Libra energy. There's that Libra energy working in the context of building into a point of energetic balance, recognizing and identifying what that balance is, working in the space of, I keep on seeing, calibration. And this is why for a lot of the energy right now, deep within divine union, I keep on hearing the same message for energy deep within divine union, which is extending an olive branch, but not cutting down the tree. What does that mean? Because when we extend an olive branch, it's remembering that it's the understanding, and I want you to understand the origin of that. You can grow a tree from an olive branch. It's a cutting. So when we say that the derivation point of extending an olive branch is giving something to another, by which if they plant it, it allows the ability to grow. It allows for the ability to flourish. So that same sense, that's why I keep on seeing there's a lot of energy right now deep within divine union that is articulating upon recognizing the gift of courtesy. Because when we move in a courteous way, we extend We extend that forward. We offer that energetic opportunity. We move in accordance to what we aspire, but we don't push too hard, right? We don't force our desire onto another. We don't force our intention. The extending of an olive branch is the articulation of saying you're extending an olive branch, but you're not cutting down the tree, because you say that you extend that courtesy and then you patiently wait to see if it is matched and met in the same degree. Continuing to get clarification here between our Page of Pentacles in its reversal in combination with our Eight of Swords in its upright. One card to clarify. There it is. There's that Five of Pentacles. This was the hurdle during the eclipse process. A lot of this work during the eclipse cycle, working through abandonment wounds, working through feelings of worthlessness, right? I know this eclipse cycle felt a lot like going through the grinder of the self. Why? Because Venus retrograde cycles make it very hard to see beauty in things. And the combination force of that with the Mercury retrograde made it feel like it was feeling very directed toward the self. But that's why we keep on seeing that a lot of that message that we were receiving during that retrograde cycle is, what does one do with grit on the mirror, right? If it feels like someone throws grit on your mirror, do you throw it back? Or do you recognize and identify? And this is what's beautiful about it. In the past, you'll have to remember, there were no reflective surfaces, right? We threw grit on a mirror to polish a mirror. It's the grit on a mirror that allows us to improve, the flaws that become facets. So often in those moments that we take something personally, right? But then we introspect upon how we feel about it. We're able to navigate, right? One of two different gifts come towards us in that moment. Either we see something in another that we feel is not something that we are in alignment to, right? It is the energetic note that we give ourselves to remind ourselves why we move in accordance to ourselves. Or there are those moments where we feel as though we take something personally, and then because it bothers us. And then we say to ourselves, what can I do to improve upon that? So then we allow for that grit to help us shine ourselves, to help us see ourselves with better clarity. And that's why when there's grit on your mirror, right? You don't go into a woe is me over it. You don't go into the space of feeling worthless. You say to yourself, what can I do to move more in accordance to what it is that I hope to see? The Venus in retrograde cycles are not here to take beauty from us. They're here to help us remember that creating beauty is always an energetic choice. We don't have to find things as a point of beauty, but we can always be in the space of trying to beautify. Continuing to get clarification between our Eight of Swords in its upright in combination with our Star card in its reversal. Can I get one card to clarify? There's that Magician energy. And I think that this is really beautiful because this is saying to me it's a Venus message, right? And the thing about, I need to point out, like, the thing about the allegory of Venus in a clamshell has to do with the revelation of beauty. And I want to point out that these cards, all three cards, and if you'd like to see today's spread, you can find it over on our Substack. When you see these three cards, these are effectively Venus energy, because we've got the shell of the Eight of Swords in combination with the Star card and the Magician, right? And so, when we identify and recognize our own beauty, when we hold ourselves as something energetically beautiful, right? And we come into spaces and we try to give our beauty to others and it's rejected, right? Venus teaches us. Venus doesn't say that's a you problem. That's an energy. When you hold yourself in a space, you look around yourself and you observe and say, this is not a place that they appreciate beauty. I'll just take my beauty elsewhere. You know what I mean? Like that's what Venus teaches us. Like, that's why she arrives on a clamshell, because Venus, when Venus opens up her clamshell and she reveals herself in her splendor, If others don't appreciate it, Venus doesn't start getting hard on themselves. Venus doesn't start saying, oh, I guess it's a me problem. Venus says, I guess the energy around here does not appreciate beauty, right? So it has a lot to do with, again, and also understanding that what do we see in the context of why do we identify and associate Venus with the clamshell? I want you to think about how a pearl is formed, okay? How is a pearl formed? A pearl is formed via grit that comes into the clam. Does the clam just spit the grit out? No, there's no pearl then. What does a clam do in the context of feeling that there is grit within? It begins to work on it. It begins to improve it. It begins to soften it so that it does not irritate the pearl and irritate the clam. And in the act of trying to take something painful and make it easier, it creates a thing of rare beauty. And so that's what a lot of this Venus in retrograde cycle was calling us to do to a certain extent. It's taking the note, not just spitting back out again, right? That's why I said not just matching energy, not just being like, that's a you problem. It's building in the context of saying to oneself, this bothers me. What can I do to make it better? This is something that is hard about the self. This is something that's hard about others. It's not overly embodying others. It's the contemplation about what one can do within the self in order to improve the self. And that's happening across all of the frequencies. Continuing to get clarification between our Justice card in combination with our Five of Pentacles in its upright. One card to clarify. We got two cards to clarify. There it is. There's the pearl energy. We've got here our Knight of Pentacles in combination with our Devil card. So this is what we see. And again, it's interesting too, because this is the pink moon. So there's a lot of work as it relates to navigating through intimacy, right? And this is that softening process, because a lot of that work, like what do you do, right? What do you do when something feels energetically ugly to the self, right? Do you just spit it out? Do you just deliver the more of the same? Or do you take that as an energetic call, right? It has a lot to do between, it's interesting too, because so many of these lessons that we had to experience, particularly with the Mercury and Venus retrogrades intertwined, has to do with the ability of making something energetically finer, refining, making something better. It doesn't require perfection. And here's the thing about it. When we work towards, when we are striving for perfection, we often miss opportunities to create perfect. I need to say that again. When we are overly focused on perfection, we miss on finding perfection. We miss opportunities to make perfect. So everything I keep on seeing here is working in the context of not feeling devastated or frustrated or angry that something isn't the way that you aspire it to be. And this is why these are Libra messages, because what happens with the journey of a Libra? Often a journey of a Libra is working in the context of understanding balance. The creation of true balance is not in trying to put balance on something. It's looking at something and saying, how can I make this better? How can I arrive to this opportunity and allow for that you understand, and this is often what Libras have to work through. Some energy of Libras has to often arrive feeling that sense of having to judge things, but instead moving later into the context of us saying, how can I bring balance into this energetic equation? Right? Not the feeling of judging, but the feel of feeling the judgment and allowing it to bring one into a space of personal calling. So everything about that, I keep on seeing that is the smooth terrain. How does one smooth something over? How does one beautify something? How does one make something better? It doesn't require, you can't seek perfection when you're trying to smooth something. you feel more like an activation instead of a regression. And that's why I keep on seeing right now there's something very vital and important that's occurring during this time, particularly in relationality to energy moving into union at this time. New energetic connections that are being built upon energy that wants the same things as self, right? Doesn't have to be perfect, but having that clarity of direction. And then via moving towards it, being patient, not letting the past shape the present, recognizing the evidence of exquisite concerted effort, that stabilization point of sustainability and consistency that helps us see the possibilities of what we're creating with another, and at the same time suddenly opens our eyes to what was energetically missing in relationships that were more based on whim or inspiration. Because when someone is coming towards us only when the mood strikes them, it feels like a continual and perpetual shock to our system, because there is, and it's hard to articulate what's missing, because it's not that there's anything bad. In fact, what you're receiving might be perfect, but if it's not consistent, that perfect is the worst. While for masculine and feminine coming into divine union right now, clarification coming through right now with the Five of Pentacles in combination with our Magician in its upright. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with our Death card in its reversal. I got to tell you, and there's something here too, like some of these, I keep on seeing like some of these new partnerships, like, and I need to stress this because the last cycle, the warrior partnerships that we saw that were occurring during that Mars retrograde, this was the opposite of that. Those were like wonder twin energies. The partnerships coming through during those times, they were like fastly formed and then just moving together. These are like lace. There's delicacy here. There's care. There's consideration. These are energies that are actively healing from something that was energetically devastating in the past. And the thing about whatever that was devastating, I see the devastation point was the fact that there was a lot of something, but it was a lot of inconsistency. And so I keep on seeing that that's the energy that was going through some like feast and famine relationships, like those moments that feel like, it's like what you receive is overwhelming and then it's gone. So you can't necessarily predicate one thing from the next. And so there's a lot of energy right now that's learning the difference between a shock to the system and a pleasant surprise. What is a pleasant surprise? When things are already lovely and someone makes it a little bit sweeter, right? Versus a shock to a system where you don't know what's going to happen 1 minute to the next. While for masculine and feminine energy that is coming into divine union, this is why the energy says to one another, I cannot thank you for the effect that you've had on me. And this is the energy, I literally see the energy going, I am not doing anything. And the energy saying you're doing everything. Because the gift of consistency, when we find stability in ourselves, there is no greater gift than we give to counterpart, because that reliability in the context of what we can depend and expect from another builds a sense of security in what it is that we exist within. And so that's why I keep on seeing that for a lot of the energy in that space, this is the energy that says you've worked upon yourself to such a degree that I know what to expect from you. It's not the space. It's not that you are predictable. It is that you are strong within the fabric of oneself. You're energetically reliable. When we become self-aware, we become energetically self-reliable, not only to ourselves, but to those who share space with us. So it's that energetic reliability point that builds upon the fabric of sustainability. It is the ground beneath our feet. And that's why the energy says you are not just I keep on hearing the energy that's saying you're not just the wind beneath my wings, you're the ground beneath my feet, because this is the energy that says through you I am able to energetically ascend. Through you I am able to see myself with more clarity. While for masculine and feminine energy, this is why I feel like it's interesting, because this energy is like growing. The other energy is working through compassion, but to a degree, because that is the energy that's working on particularly difficult situations or frustrations. And when we're dealing with something that is energetically frustrating, we put I keep on seeing We put effort to something in the form of amplifying the direction that we hope something moves towards. But we don't surrender the standards of the self in the process. That's why I keep on seeing there's something to do with that sense or that space of courtesy in recognizing and defining that, in allowing for the context of, I keep on seeing, working through something in such a way that it allows for that point of delicacy in terms of helping another person identify the direction that you aspire something to go towards, but not feeling like you're forcing some kind of energetic condition upon another. Final card for today's spread, between our Knight of Pentacles in its upright, our Devil card in its reversal, in combination with our Death card in its reversal. One card to clarify, please. Clarification coming through right now with our Eight of Pentacles in its reversal. Now, there's something very important right now as it relates to this Eight of Pentacles energy. Remember how I told you that something that's important that was happening during this time has to do with being able to identify the unrecognizable, being able to find, like, remember, if you go back to some of our readings about a month ago, I was telling you that when we're going through all of that Piscean energy, we were moving towards Renaissance energy. Why do we keep on describing it as Renaissance energy? Because Renaissance is the articulation or ambiguation point of being able to find the words, being able to understand something in a way that you couldn't understand it before. It is the ability to revive something with a different context that makes it new again. And so that's why I just keep on seeing that there's something about this energy right now across all of the frequencies that is going through an energetic renaissance, because it's the ability to find the words to articulate upon something that you couldn't articulate upon before. It's being able to see something in the context that you couldn't see it before. And how do we find Renaissance energy? Via comparison. Jupiter and Gemini, the ability to place something in a way that we haven't placed it before, that suddenly gives context on what was energetically missing. This is what's happening for a lot of energy right now, coming out of separation and moving into relationship, is the ability, or in separation and starting to understand what, like, the value and significance, the integral importance of consistency. That consistency is hard to put one's finger on, because it's something that and this is why with Saturn approaching Mercury and Venus, consistency is something that can only be recognized via the factor and the vector of time, right? So often, and this is why I keep on seeing that there's energy that was experiencing a little bit of those new energetic jitters as it relates to relationship, putting a practice of patience towards them, seeing progress, right? What is the sacred breath of healthy relationship? It is the patience we apply that is met with the breath of progress. So these are the energies that are they're starting to find that flow state. They're starting to find that syncopation. And in the moment that they experience that syncopation, their eyes are open to situations in the past wherein another person was not prioritizing syncopation, was moving towards the self more based upon personal whim. And often when we have these energies, these relationships that feel like they are fickle, it is often those moments that we start to agonize, because we try to take on more of the effort. We try to take on more of the burden. We try giving more, hoping that we're going to fix something. And instead it either stays in its same consistency, or another person starts to articulate the desire for perfection as to why they're not delivering consistency. This is the energy that is remembering now, with the lessons of understanding that perfection should never be a barrier towards moving towards something, because perfection is not something that we find in another. It's something that we make together. There's a lot of energy right now airing frustration, because something that they're receiving now, coming into partnership, is giving them all the clarity they need as relates to what was missing in the past. While for masculine and feminine coming into divine union right now, this is why I keep on seeing I keep on hearing this energy go, you have no idea the effect that you've had on me. And this is the energy that goes, I have no idea what you're talking about. And then the energy says, that's exactly why. Because when we are in energetic alignment, the consistency and the stability that we create within ourselves, the gift of reliability that we create for counterpart, the ability of understanding that it doesn't necessarily matter what happens outside the self, the stability of knowing who we are as we show up for it. This is a lot of that energy that feels that space of the heart opening, the healing of intimacy, because this is the energy that says you have no idea the impact or the effect that you have upon me, because this is the energy that says through you, I have the opportunity to become the person that I aspire to become, because the gift that we're giving one another is the stability of personhood. While for masculine and feminine energy, deep within divine union, I just keep on seeing that for a lot of this energy right now, I keep on hearing the same message, which is olive branches, not trees, which is why, because again, this is working in the space of trying to heal things and trying to bring things into a point of greater healing. But this is the profound irony when it comes to trying to heal something. If you try to heal something that another person does not want to heal, I hate to break it to you, you become the toxic force. I'm going to say that again. If you are it doesn't matter what your intentions are. It doesn't matter if you have all the best intentions as it relates to healing something. If someone else does not want to heal it, then you will become the toxic force in that person's energetic experience. And this is why I keep on seeing that these are energies that are extending olive branches, but not trees. Because what that effectively means is this is energy that understands that the greatest gift that we give to one another is courtesy. It's not the ability to try to apply our will or determination on something. It is the moment that we say, I would like to, but the choice is energetically up to you. It is the adaptability that we find in that embrace. And that's why I keep on seeing that a lot of this energy is doing that work as it relates to gentle touches, giving those indications on being able to want to change something or restore something or heal something, but not overextending to the space that it feels impolite or rude to do so. Bottom of the deck on this reading, especially with the Page of Swords in its upright. Again, it has to do with courtesy. Not confusing niceness and courtesy. We can be nice and very rude in our niceness, right? What is the space of recognizing something that is discourteous? Trauma occurs in spaces that another person says, why won't you let me be nice to you? Because we become discourteous. We are moving from the space of the ego when we're trying to apply our will to something, not being conscientious or cognizant of another's choice or desire. And so we keep on seeing that for a lot of the energy working in that context, potentially getting frustrated and helping to try to recognize the difference between niceness and courtesy. Identifying the fact that those are vastly different things, working in the context of understanding that often energy that is courteous is misambiguated as being impolite when all they're doing is stating their energetic standards, while often energy that is being rude by being overly nice and insistent is sometimes energetically celebrated for that nicety. Like, I just keep on seeing that there's a lot of the energy that keeps on saying, like, working through the disambiguation between niceness and courtesy that helps us identify and recognize that it is always rude. It doesn't matter what our intentions are if we're not being conscientious about what another desires or aspires in the process of healing. That is our daily collective read for today. I want to thank you so much for being here and sharing in these readings. Just a reminder, if you would like to book a private reading with me, you can do so on my site. Please keep in mind, if you book a private reading with me, it is a 2-step process. You have to book the reading and you have to pay for the reading. Please make sure you do both if you would like to have that reading. Most importantly, please remember that I will never, ever, 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 ever reach out to you for a private reading. I will never DM you. I will never PM you. I will never slide into your inbox and tell you that I have a very important message that only I can deliver. The only way you can book a reading with me is if you book one on my site. So I encourage you to do it there. Also, a couple of updates before we move into personal readings today. First and foremost, thank you to everyone who participated in our recent tarot class. Our next tarot class is happening this Wednesday. It will be at 6 p.m. PST, 9 p.m. Eastern, and we will be focusing on our studies on the Hangman card. If you would like to become a part of that tarot class program, all you need to do is head over to my Substack and become a paid subscriber. Your paid subscription to my Substack is your ticket of entry into our live classes each and every month. As a monthly subscriber, you will also have access to over 9 hours worth of material in the Tarot Church Library archive. It's not necessary to catch up. I'll do my best to give you an update on everything we've studied thus far, but the material is there for you to receive when you're ready to receive it. You'll also have access to a one-on-one chat with me and the other students to ask any questions that you may have in relation to anything that we have studied thus far. And if you become a founding member to my Substack, not only will you receive a discount on the full year's worth of classes, but you will also receive a complimentary one-on-one mentorship class with me, wherein I will assess where you are on your personal tarot journey and give you the best insights in terms of how to utilize those classes most effectively towards your personal tarot goals. You will also have full access to the entirety of the Tarot Church Library archive. That is access to over 12 hours worth of class materials in an ever-expanding library. Even if you don't become a paid subscriber to my Substack, I would encourage you to follow me there to stay up to date on any new offerings or services. I also post my weekly newsletter there, which will let you know about my in-person events as well as my online live schedule. You'll also be notified as to any new offerings. And speaking of offerings, on top of my standard life path readings, I also offer mentorship classes. These are for any of my client students that are seeking a more personalized educational experience with me. I take a very limited number of students for this reason, as those classes are focused on each individual's personal spiritual goals and journey work. Those classes can be purchased on an individual level or as a monthly class series, weekly or bi-weekly as your schedule permits. Also, for my clients that are seeking more consistent tarot support, I'm very happy to offer weekly tarot insight packages. That is a package of 4 30-minute readings, again, weekly or bi-weekly as your schedule permits, so that you can stay more consistent on your personal journey. I'm also very happy to now offer dream interpretation readings. You can purchase those per dream or as a series. I would encourage, if you purchase a dream series, that you make sure to keep a dream journal, as we will meet weekly or bi-weekly with that journal and utilize the tarot to understand the key themes and messages coming towards you in the dream space. I want to thank you guys so much for being here today and sharing in these messages, and we will do this again